listening to Crushing It with Connie White. This week's episode, I'm chatting with Jay Kinder, who is my real estate coach, and we'll be talking about why I made the move to eXp and why he made the move to eXp Realty. I've known Jay for 3 years. We have worked together with the National Association of Expert Advisors. So I hope you enjoy the podcast.
What's happening, everybody out there in Facebook land, YouTube land? And we are here with another Honey Badger Nation. Great introduction, Connie White. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well.
Love it. Well, let's talk a little bit about we'll talk about the decision to join eXp. We've been around each other for years, and you've been a killer in the business. You built a very successful business, and you don't take making decisions lightly, especially decisions like this. So talk a little bit about your production, how long you've been in the business, in the marketplace you're in, and then kind of how we got to this point where you decided to join us and partner with us at eXp.
Yeah. So I've been in the business now, real estate, 10 years. I actually got into real estate just as an investor trying to own a company without being a realtor. So I had to jump in and get my real estate license. I felt that it was better for me to do just because, not that there wasn't a lack of respect, but I kind of felt like people were looking at me like, how could you own a real estate company and you're not a realtor? So I got my license.
Gotcha.
From there, I just kind of hit the ground running. And I did really well. I like the transaction. I like working with people. I like taking buyers out. I love listing homes, viewing homes.
Mm-hmm.
And I've done well pretty much every year since I've been a part of our association, the Charleston Trident Association of Realtors. I've always made realtor distinction. And probably the past 6 years, I've always made it at the highest platinum level, which is the top 2% in our industry.
Wow.
So, it's a lot of work ethic, but it's fun, and I've enjoyed it.
Yeah, this is a great business. Yeah, I mean, you kind of threw me nostalgia back into like when I was, out showing properties and meeting people. Like you really, in order to be good at this job, I think you have to just love people, right? Like, just be genuinely interested in helping people and genuinely interested in real estate is a big part of why I think a lot of us really love this job. And so you definitely do it at a high level. And so, let's talk about the journey. And first of all, what an entrepreneurial move to buy a real estate brokerage and not have a license, right? Like that. So you're certainly an entrepreneur. And so what has this led you down the path of all these successful years selling real estate in the Charleston area? And then how did you come to the conclusion that this eXp platform was the best way for you to build your business and expand your business from here?
Yeah. So, when we own an exit franchise at first, and so I didn't know anything about, real estate. So we bought an exit franchise. It was an opportunity. Then we moved on to another company, Prudential. Then we opened up Charleston Homes Real Estate, which is great, owning your own brokerage. However, owning your own brokerage, I mean, there's a lot that you're paying for a la carte. And you're always having to stay ahead of your own technology. You're always having to do your own type research and figure it out. And you pay more. I mean, everything is such a higher expense when you own your own brokerage, trying to stay on top and getting the best of everything. And so, after, I guess we've owned Charleston Homes for about 5 years. So, what we were looking for at the model, first off, we were grateful to have met you and John Kitchens 3 years ago. And when we met you 3 years ago, we probably could have made that move at that point, but we just weren't sure. We were still trying to find like the right direction and the right path. Right. And it's hard when you own your own brokerage to say, hey, I'm going to give up my own brokerage and I'm going to move somewhere else.
Right.
With the coaching and the training that you've provided to us and John, it was a great connection. And then when, we really kind of dove in a little bit more, I dove in more to see that how much your involvement was with eXp. I had to step back and look at, if someone like you, who is like beyond successful in this industry, would make that move, then that's a wake up call to me to figure out what I need to do. And so in researching eXp a little bit further, it's a competitive industry, but now I have an opportunity, for some other, programs. I can get programs now. support. I have better support. I have everything is instantaneously at my hands versus me always having to look for the answers, me having to do the research. So, it's just nice having like this a support team behind you, and
Yeah.
I like about it.
Oh, I love that. So yeah, we got to dig into some of that. So obviously, having owned a couple of different franchises, that there was pros and cons to that, right? So like but you moved on from two of them, and we don't have to get into the reasons why, but there were some things that were provided that when you go independent, you realize, okay, now I've got to figure out the technology. I've got to figure out what the value proposition is for you to join us, and all of those types of things, right? As independent. And then, and to transition away from that, there has to be some real, my thing was to eat my own ego, right? So like, why would I stop doing what I'm doing and come over here and do anything? Because I do what I'm doing as good as anyone can. Part of, and I swear my island internet is cutting out again. So if I freeze up, I'll come back and just hang in there for him. So
yeah, I'm hanging.
Yeah. So but I think what as good deal. All right, yeah, it's cutting out a little bit, but I think what I see is where you shine is doing the things that are forward facing, not doing the back end of the real estate transaction, running the office, managing what technologies you should buy, and it's expensive, like you said, like. Trying to figure all that out is a nightmare. It's a nightmare for an agent, much less for a broker to provide to agents. And so yeah. So like the further you peel back the layers of what eXp provides, it's just a phenomenal platform for you to build what you were already building on, right? And so and I think this is once it finally clicked for me that, well, I'm actually not going to be paying eXp anything. They're actually going to be paying me through their business model if I grow, which is my goal anyways. If I'm independent or if I'm at eXp, I'm actually going to have a bigger opportunity within eXp than what I could probably make on my own. And so, it just becomes a no-brainer the more you peel back the layers and understand the business model. And I think, the hardest thing is for people that, agents, whether it's an agent or it's a broker, an independent, whoever it is, it's hard to really take the time to dive into it because you're really busy selling and building and growing your own thing. And, to really, truly understand it, you have to take some time to do that. And so I'm really glad that you did. And I'm really glad that you joined us because now you have us as an asset to, to help you with everything. And the compensation for that looks different now. So, we're here to help you and serve you as opposed to, having to pay for coaching and training at the highest level, that you had to do and figure all that stuff out before. So super cool. So what part of the model excited you the most, when you really started diving into it? What excited you the most, or what was some ahas that maybe you had as you did some of that research?
I guess some of the aha moments that I had was number one, I like diving into, I know a lot of people won't understand the eXp world, the program of the world. It's everything is a one-stop shop. So it was pretty cool for me to create this little avatar to go in and I can go to meetings. I'm updated constantly about what's coming up. I like that if I have an accounting question, I can jump into accounting. If I have to go to the broker, I can jump into the broker, and everything it's just right there and it's instantaneous. I don't have to wait for a callback. And that the support is what's so important to me. Then I like that some of the tools that I was paying for, eXp has, and so now it's just a different support system, and that's what I just found was more important for me is support. There's talking about the stock option, talking about some other passive income, that wasn't primary to me.
Sure.
That wasn't primary at all. I wanted to be able to have the tools that I have, available to me to use to either better serve my clients, serve me, to make my life a little bit easier, because I want to stay in production for a while longer.
Right.
If I can get out of production, great, but I like the production part. And so
Right.
the tools that eXp has just makes it easier for me.
Yeah, that's a great question. So we have Laura that asked the questions like, what bell went off for you to make the change? Like, so what was it like? Was there when it finally clicked? What was that?
I think when it finally clicked is instead of being by myself. So, when you do own your own brokerage, you are alone.
Yeah.
You're kind of like in a very isolated world. And now I actually get to be a part of something. I
Mm.
get to be a part of, events that are happening. Like going to eXp Con. That was
Yep.
pretty cool. I
Yep.
haven't gone anywhere in years except for, flying out to see you for training.
Yep.
I haven't gone to any kind of events to hear different people and different mindsets and different thought processes. And that's what clicked for me when I started reading about all the opportunity that I had in the future. It just seemed like it was a great move for me to be a part of something that's larger than a very small independent brokerage.
Right.
And you're right, what you were saying before, it was a little bit hard to say, hey, ego wise, you own your own company. Why are you doing this? Why are you, in fact, people have asked me that now, why do you own a company? Why are you switching over to a different brokerage? But unless you own your own company, you kind of understand what you're going through. You do have that aha moment about it doesn't have to be this hard on the back end.
Yeah.
That I'm
Yeah.
responsible
And
for.
you still own your business, right? Like you still have a company that gets paid. It's still your brand, your company, all of that still exists. You're just building it on this platform of eXp. I think that's a big aha usually for a lot of folks. And you kind of alluded to, well, the stock and the revenue share wasn't why you came. It solved some problems for you in your existing business as it was, right? And so for you to have, it's easier for you now to transact business, much easier than it was to be independent, which is what most independents find. And then, getting past the fact that, okay, I still own my own business. I still own my own business, no different. And for me, it was doing the math. Like I started doing the homework and trying to understand what was my valuation of my business that I was building, right? Like, if, is this all ego or is there some end game in this? And when I did that math and did, the research with Real Trends and Steve Murray and, his book and all that stuff, and looked at what the valuations were, it was, you're typically looking at an exit of 1.5 times EBITDA. So like, that's, if I was being honest with myself, I wasn't really building anything that was that sellable anyways. And so that, that was another aha for me that really tipped me over the edge. That was like, okay, like assuming that I continue to build it as great as possible, and all this hard work is going to pay off at some point, and I'm not going to screw it up. I'm still only going to get paid, maybe 3 times EBITDA at the max. And then they're going to ask me to stay on for 2 years with a big clawback clause that, if they lose agents, that they get that money back. So it was like, well, that's like buying you with your own money. And so, yeah, so there's that. And so now, also, as the longer you're in the business, you've been in it 10 years. And I know it probably feels the same as it felt like my first 2 decades. I'm in my 3rd decade now, 25 years. So like the first 10 years went by really fast. Right. And so,
Right.
but did the stock, did the revenue share, did any of that add to the value proposition in terms of the long-term, kind of seeing down the road, or what was it, did that play a role at all? Or was it just the current business is the main focus?
No, actually, that played a big part for me. To know that it's a nationally traded company, that I could actually, make an investment in stock and buy extra stock. Being an investor, I mean, I am an investor. I invest in real estate. I invest in myself. So why wouldn't I want to invest in myself with a stock option for my future retirement? I'm not getting any younger. And so, I mean, it's great to know that I've got something else building instead of just buying and selling real estate. I've got the stock option behind the scene. The opportunity to recruit real estate agents to come on to eXp and then get that type of reward also was very attractive. So I've always said in real estate, I have different pipelines. Whether you're buying a house, selling a house, short sales, rental property, these are other pipelines of revenue source for me. Why wouldn't I take advantage of that?
Right. 100%. Yeah. Well said. Well said. And that's, it's common sense, like, when you say it so clearly, it's like, why does not everybody see this? Like, this is such a no brainer, but yeah, I think a lot of people struggle with like, what's the real value of that? And, like if you're at a franchise, you might be paying a royalty right now that's like 5 or 6%. And you don't even really think about that, but it adds up to a lot of money. For me, it was over $100,000 the last year at Coldwell Banker that I was there. And so, over the course of a career, if you stayed at that same place, that royalty that never ends, man, that's a lot of money. And so what if that was invested in the company that you were joining and you helped grow that company? by telling your friends. And we all have clients that end up in the business, or you talk to an agent and they're not happy where they're at, and they come over to where you're at. Like that stuff happens naturally, just without us even focusing on that as a revenue stream. So now you just have an opportunity that's a new revenue stream that you can choose to focus on it or choose not to, but you're going to accidentally have some people that come join the company. And to be able to get compensated for that and really ultimately get to a place where you're actually not paying eXp anything and you're actually getting paid to be at eXp, you're getting the cap of 16,000 back in stock in the company as an award, instead of all the awards that we used to get for transactions that I can't take to the bank. I've got lots of them. They're very heavy and they're really nice. And I'm very, very proud of those awards, but at the same time, man, I'd much rather had the stock in the company that I was a part of, because I think over the 20 years I've been in the business, that would probably be worth something. And so, go ahead.
Like what you and I both need is one more Crystal Award. And I think when I heard you say that, I don't know, several months back, I'm like, you know what, he's right. Again, that's that ego part, because you want to win and you want to get that award, but really, what can I do with that Crystal Award? What I can do is collect stock and make money in a different way, which is like so much more beneficial than having an award sitting on a shelf. So I agree with you.
Yeah, I could definitely. I've got enough of those that like they would give these medals out, right? Like I don't know if you're ever going to wear it, what you're supposed to do with it. Like it's an Olympic medal or whatever. Like I'm going to ever wear it. Maybe do like a rap video or something with it. But it's great. I appreciate it, because I think we're all competitive in a certain degree. So that stuff's good, and you do get awards. They still have rankings and awards and all that stuff here at eXp. It's just the ones that matter the most are the stock awards that you get. And so, just what a cool idea. And I remember the first agent I bumped into, and my mind wasn't ready. The gate of my mind wasn't even open, not even at all. And this guy would not stop talking about the stock, and he was pulling it up. It's like it's traded on on all the platforms, whatever. It was a penny stock at the time, which I wasn't even paying attention to that. But the guy just wouldn't stop talking about his stock. And I was like, man, this dude is really excited. So my takeaway was like, man, ownership makes people act a little different. When you own a company, you act a little differently. There's some meaning behind it, but it's not enough to just have ownership, because we thought about creating ownership, but there's nothing like knowing that you can go and look and see how the stock's doing today. And if you wanted to sell your stock, you could. And if you wanted to keep it and hold it forever, which I think is what everybody at eXp should do, because if you know anything about the growth of this company, it's going to be worth more tomorrow than it is today. Don't watch the ups and downs. I have people that try to justify the stock and be like, look at this time period to this time period. Look how much down it is. Yeah, well, the whole market's down from that period to that period. Like, look back 5 years where the stock was $3. We had a stock split. It went up to $180, and then it came back down. Like, just hold it. Like, if you just came and you just held the stock for the time you're in business here, I think we're going to all look up and say that was the best decision that we ever made. I think it's going to be the stock. And that's saying a lot, because I think the revenue share is a super significant piece of the puzzle. But and then then there's the fact that you're still growing your business, you're attracting people that you like working with, and you get compensated for that. It's a lot of fun, man. I think one of the taglines for the first few years has been making real estate fun again. I'm having fun. I hope you're having fun too.
That's what I want. I want to get back to real estate being fun. Just being around people who have the same mindset.
Right.
I love energy. I like feeding off of people who have the same energy that I have, like you have.
Yep.
It means a lot, and that's how I think we can all thrive. There's enough business out here for everybody.
Oh, that's true.
I would like to start getting more people to come over. And it's interesting. I think some people's hesitation is it's not anything about eXp. They like what they're hearing. I think some people are just afraid of change. Mm-hmm. So, if I can make the change, if you can make the change, as being owners and as successful as you were, with your company, and as well as I was doing with my own company, owning it, if I could make that change and know that it's the right thing for me to do, it was a great move. It may be a little bit uncomfortable. It may be a little bit of a pain when you have to, move transactions and shift some things, but it's worth it. It's well worth it. When you look at the bigger picture and the goal, it's worth it.
Yeah. I think you have to do your own research, right? Like there's nobody at the surface level. We all think we understand this opportunity pretty well, even if you're listening to everything we said. Yeah, okay, I've heard all those things before. But most people are so far off from like really understanding and really truly experiencing it, because they're not here. And so, do the research, like do your own due diligence. And I think one of the best things you can do is have a conversation with someone like you who's just joined, what things you saw, and and get your questions answered. And so, if you're here watching this and you want more, you want to do more, have more, be more, give more, and you're open-minded, timing, there's never a good time to make a change, right? That's there's never a good time. If you're gonna wait for it, we have to make the time for change to happen. And so we've all had to do that ourselves. And and so, do the due diligence. And you don't want to be the last one that joins us. I think that there's an advantage to those that join us earlier than late. And I know, and I like to explain this to people too, because people just don't understand how big the opportunity is. Like when I joined 4 years ago, there was 5,000 agents. And so from that point till today, there's now we just passed 75,000 agents, which is crazy, right? What a fast growth. Crazy. But that means 70,000 agents was basically my opportunity. And the projections over the next 5 years is 500,000 agents in 5 years. So that's 430,000 agents internationally. We just opened up the Dominican Republic, the 19th country that we're in. What a huge opportunity. The opportunity is so much bigger over the next 5 years that, you'd be crazy to think that you missed out on something. Like it's only going to grow bigger and faster. And so, I think the opportunity piece is huge. I think the alignment piece you mentioned is huge. This allows you to talk to people that would have never probably joined your brokerage, right? But they're doing something similar, or they're doing something significant themselves, and to be in business together and in alignment, that's a cool thing to be able to do. Because I used to always say, and I hate saying it because it always comes out. Sometimes I think people take it the wrong way, but like sometimes the agents that were new or that were on my team and that weren't as ambitious as me, it was, I loved them and I wanted to help them, but I wanted their success more than they wanted it for themselves. Because I knew what they were capable of, but they weren't willing to put in the work to accomplish those things. And to be able to have conversations with you on a daily basis, that's much more fun. It's much more, like you said, it's energizing to talk to people that are doing big things all the time, and to be in alignment with them financially. That if I help you win, I win too. That's just fun for me. Like that, I couldn't design a better thing to do than do that on a daily basis. And so it's an honor for me and a privilege to be in business with you. And I'm looking forward to who we're going to grow it with there in South Carolina and anywhere else that you have friends and family and people that know real estate agents. That's another piece of this model that people. I think we started out a little bit more international because we knew people in a lot of different markets, and over years and years of coaching and training. Like you're going to have people in different states and different countries. That's going to happen. It happens because everybody knows somebody who knows a real estate agent, and that's going to not just stay local. It's going to grow bigger than local. And so, you're going to be in multiple states and have partners in multiple states. And it's just a cool thing to do. And the other ability for you to scale, if you wanted to move from Charleston to another market, or you wanted to open a business in another place, a team or brokerage in another area, you could do that instantly. So just like your vision kind of just opens up, and the whole world just kind of opens up. And like, hey, well, what do you really want to do? Like, what are you really excited about doing? Because now you can do anything on this platform that would have been really hard to do as an independent, is what I learned.
Yeah. And I agree. In fact, it's interesting that you said other states. One of my clients who just moved to North Carolina, he is in the real estate class now. And so we're going to get him to sign up, let me sponsor him and through eXp. So already that would be my first person out of South Carolina. So I was very excited about that, to understand that opportunity could actually happen.
Right. And it's always seamless, right? Like it's not, this isn't, it's not like you have to go, like as an independent brokerage, you would have to be like, okay, well, let me see if I can get licensed in that state. And we had, as we were doing this, partner program where we were partnering with agents, and we as soon as we crossed state lines, like I was going through a slideshow that I had the other day that we did back in 2016 or the beginning of 2017, before we even really knew about eXp truly. And in that vision, we had this whole presentation that we did for our attorney, and there was like 15 or 20 entities that we had already set up with just trying, just all of the different entities, mortgage, title in every state, all these different things that we were doing. I was like, man, it gave me a headache just looking at it. Like, doing that stuff that's the hardest part. And when that infrastructure is already there, and it allows you to instantly move, and you get to have ownership in that same business without having to have all those headaches and go brain dead.
Yeah.
As Glenn likes to say, he's like all the brain damage that goes into building that. I'm happy that he built what he built and that we're a part of it.
Yeah, it's something that I would have never imagined. It's something that I never understood, but I'm so thrilled to be a part of it now, because you're right. I've even thought going outside of our MLS, still staying within South Carolina when we were owning our own brokerage, but it was still a headache. It was still such a hassle and a process and hoop jumping, things that you had to do, things you had to join, all the upfront money, and I don't know. I didn't see it as being that. It wasn't the value. The value wasn't there.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
The value that eXp's put together, it just makes more sense. There's such a higher opportunity just by talking to people, just by connecting with people, to be able to, open up these resources, open up other connections, open up other pipelines for a passive revenue. And it's like, why wouldn't you want to do that? Be uncomfortable, change your brokerage and understand that you're making a change that's uncomfortable for a moment, but it's so much better for you. You're going to open up a higher opportunity for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to train with me and you.
That's so true. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah. And by the way, Connie, if somebody wants to have a conversation with you about eXp or about their own business and wanting to grow, what would be the best way for them to reach out to you?
If they want to reach out to me, they can reach me out on Instagram at Connie White Real Estate Expert. Of course, Facebook is Connie White. And I actually just started a podcast. So I'm on all listening platforms, and it's Crushing It with Connie White. So I have to say that you and John Kitchens and Holly Kitchens were the inspiration for me. I mean, that is totally uncomfortable for me. Here I am, 57 years old, jumping into a podcast, but it's fun, and we're going to make it better. We're going to make it really good. So I'm excited.
Yeah, you're going to crush it, and I love that you're challenging yourself and you're willing to step out there and do things. And I think that's what happens. We grow in those moments, right? Like it's not easy, but that's where that's how success happens. That's where where your growth comes from, the struggle. And so I'm proud of you for doing that, and I'm excited about the Connie White brand as you continue to grow. And looking forward to being in business with you for years and years to come, and helping you build wealth and ultimately. At a certain time in your life when you're ready to step back, you'll be able to do that. And so it's a pleasure to be in business with you. And thanks a lot for the time today on this podcast.
Thanks, Jay. I appreciate you very much. So can't wait to keep growing and working with you.
Awesome. See you, Connie.